Welcome back to the garage, ladies and gents, and thanks so much for joining us. Well, we're back at it on this old EVO electric glide, and we're going to start out today trying to do our best to mount these non-electric glide bags onto this bike somehow. And from there, not really sure what all we're going to get into. So let's just get busy and see what all we can get done. So for our bags, we're going to go ahead and start on this side first. This should be the most difficult side. We're going to go ahead and get our oil tank just kind of mocked up, as well as our side cover, if I can get the oil tank in there. Now, if you didn't watch the first couple of videos on this series, if you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. But this bike did not have an oil tank. It had an oil tank, but it was, and we're just mocking this stuff up, guys. This is not, we're not mounting this like this. But the oil tank that was on it was, I mean, I'll loosely call it homemade. I don't know what you would call it. I don't know if it came off of something. And it was sitting in the middle, and it housed the battery, which is, you know, pretty cool. But it was just lightly tack welded to the frame and very lightly mounted up here. And the tank itself is not in good shape. So it wasn't going to stay on this bike. But I picked this one up on eBay for 45 bucks. Not too bad. There was a lot of them out there too. So I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what the situation was for whoever worked on it before. But man, if you can get them for 45 bucks, I would just go with this. Just my opinion. And this bike also naturally had no side covers on it. Picked these up for, I think it was like 65 bucks on eBay. You see this one's going to fit pretty good. Now, it's pretty scuffed up and everything, and it's kind of rough. But you know what? This is going to be pretty much a Frankenstein bike anyway, so it kind of goes along with it. Here's a quick look at the bags that's going on there. Now, they're not pretty. They're not perfect. But for this bike, I think they're going to do the trick. You know, the cool thing, too, is we got lights on the back of them. So I can actually run some tail lights back there. And so the bags we're going with, they came off of a bike we did on the channel. Some of you probably saw it, 89 Softail. I think they were from a Heritage probably. I have no idea, to be honest. Now, I could go tracking down or try to track down some hard bags for this and paint them and all that. But this bike is in such bad shape. It's a Frankenstein bike. The fact that it's even getting bags is kind of remarkable at this point. Plus, I don't want to spend the money and I want to reuse this stuff. So here's the mount for it. And I think this is going to work. So here's the idea. What I think we're going to do is this is going to sit, or it's going to sit right here on this shock, just like that, but it'll go in behind it. So we'll open up that hole, make that fit as best we can, and then back here we can drill up here at the top, and then I can mount it to this piece, and I actually need to take these off probably. But we'll mount it to this bolt right here, this piece, which is also part of the frame, and we'll just run a spacer. I think that's going to work. And the nice thing is it's going to tuck. I think it's going to tuck right up under this. Perfect, because I was afraid I was going to have to trim a little bit of this side cover. This piece right here is going to have to come off. Well, it doesn't really have to, but it's just in the way. Now, this little 90 back here, this piece that's welded to the frame, that's part of the frame, obviously. But somebody added this for whatever bags they were going to use. There is no use for us, so we'll just cut that off, smooth it off, and paint it. And I think this will work. Now, the good thing is that this mount has what we need down here, to rest the bags on so that the bags aren't just hanging down. Plus, we can connect the two down here just like they do on a lot of factory bikes. So I think it's going to work. We will end up with a big gap up here between the bags and the shocks. But again, we're talking Frankenstein bike. I'm not really all that concerned about it. So let's get this shock loose right here. Let's drill this hole and start mounting this up. And from there, we can throw some bags on to see how it's going to look and if it's even going to mount up right. Now, this bike being an 89 model would have originally had the battery mounted here. And of course, all this stuff was just gutted and ripped out completely. Not really sure how I'm going to mount up down here. We will definitely figure that out later. But up here, what I think I'm going to do real quick, and I promise we're going to get to the bags, is this bike, this is where the oil tank was that somebody put in it. And of course, they welded it here and here, and it was just small, almost like tack welds. And they were very rusty as well. This frame originally had almost like a tray, I'll call it, that was welded to the frame. Kind of like this down here, sort of. But it was up here going across, and you had all your electricals, a lot of electrical stuff in here. What I think I'm going to do is I don't want to chase down trying to mount the battery in its original spot. I've actually got a smaller battery. We're going to put that right here. Probably going to use a newer Road King style tray and just mount it in here. But what I think I want to do, this is just my thinking here going on, is I want to find a way to weld that battery tray from here to here to add a little support and rigidity to this since somebody cut it off of the original frame. Now, these shocks on here actually pretty new. The previous owner actually put these on. These are nice shocks, so that is a good thing. He is not the one that went all crazy with the welder on this thing. He picked it up from somebody to work on it as a project. Kind of what we're doing. Boy, that's going to be quite the size of a hole we need, though, to drill because of how these are mounted. I think we'll get it. There we are. Not too bad. I think that'll work. I think we can get it drilled. Now that I'm getting a good look at the welds on this bracket, I can clearly see that this is homemade, but man, whoever did it, they got it lined up perfect. These bags sit on here great. And I'm not going to criticize the welds because they're probably better than what I can do. Not sure why I thought this would be easy. Naturally, things are starting to escalate. Well, our bracket drilling and cutting got a little out of hand, but I think we got it where it needs to be. It's definitely going to fit, but we're actually going to have to mount this, if it'll go through there, on the outside of the shock. There it is. Because putting it in behind it, which would be ideal and would make it, of course, look better, it's going to hit the frame, unfortunately, and the tank. But let's mock all this up and see what it looks like, because there may be quite a big gap right there, but the bike will still be functional and it'll still run. And you can use the bags. There it goes. And of course, this is for mock-up purposes right here. Just trying to see, you know, what's going to work and if it even looks good. Well, I mean, looks may not matter at this point with this thing, but will they function and work? That's the big question right now. But we're on there. I think it might work pretty good. Now, right now, mounting this up is just a mess of spacers just to make this work. So if we end up going with this, I'm going to try to improve all that so that it's a little more user-friendly. It's definitely locking down on there. And we still got to work on our mount for the rear here to get it on the actual bike. Right now, just got a fun little jack stand holding it up. Toss this fender on. See how it looks mocked up with this bag. And if you're paying attention, you'll realize this is not the fender that was on this bike. This actually came off of the 89 Softail we did on the channel. That was an FX bike that somebody had an FL rear fender on it. So we're going to try to reuse this one because this one is in much better shape, in my opinion, than what we just took off. This fender does have some extra holes drilled in it, but it doesn't have a bunch of dents all in it. Well, I'm not liking the gap, just being honest, but I am liking the bag. So the bag's on there, nice and solid. And we don't even, of course, have the rest of our mounts yet. We got one up here, and then we can also connect these on the bottom. But the bags themselves are sitting on there pretty nice. I mean, even our little side signal / brake light over here on the bag is nice and parallel. And of course, I was planning to reuse these for signals, so that'd be kind of nice. Nice little bonus for using these. This angle over here, not too bad at all. Of course, we'll have the side cover here and the seat kind of covering up a lot of that. And I know some of you might, if you're new to this channel or if you're new to this series, might say, why not just get the factory stuff? Well, this thing has been hacked on and butchered. I mean, our drivetrain is solid on this bike. But we have stuff that's been cut off. We have brackets that's been welded on. We have other mount tabs that's been removed. I could buy all that stuff, you know, the headache of finding all of it, but who knows if it's even going to mount up right after this thing's been all butchered. So to me at this point, this stage for this bike and where it's at in its life, this is probably a good option. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get our other brackets ready for the top. We'll go ahead and get this other side mocked up, and we'll just kind of take a look at this, you know, as it sits with both bags on there. There we go. Should work. Oops. Oof. Come on, work with me here. Well, we got both bags mocked up now. We still got a little ways to go, but at least we're nice and secure right now. So we did use some 1/4" steel down here that I was working on. Actually, I already had that piece, and then just cut this one right here. 1 1/4" because I didn't want anything to be moving. Right now, though, however, this left side bag is it's angling out that way just a little bit, but I think I can fix it. I can mess around with the spacing here as well as mess around with some adjustment down here once I mount it up down there on the bottom. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to work. Still got the big gap. Not happy with that, but at least they are nice and solid. And down here on the bottoms, what we will be doing is using some angle iron to just kind of cut part of the angle iron, bend it, re-weld it, and then mount it between this point and this point. And what I'll do, because right now you can see there's a gap there, and the gap on the left is actually bigger than that one. So between adjusting with our spacers and also making our angle iron cuts down here, we're going to make sure that these are the same length, so it kind of draws it in, because we definitely want lights back here to be nice and, you know, parallel to the bike. Because this one right here, you can see she's just going out just a little bit. And then after all that, we will be replacing all of our hardware there because it's going to be seen, and I've got to get some stuff on there that's nice and solid. I just got, you know, kind of whatever there right now for mocking it up. So at this point, I would say I'm about 95% certain this is the route we're going to go. So we went ahead and ordered our seat so we can mount it up and mock it up. Well, I can't mount it. I don't have a seat mount yet. That's a problem for another day. But we'll throw the seat up there to kind of get a good look of what it's going to be like, you know, whenever all this is covered up. If we're happy with it, we're going to be throwing all this stuff off for now because we got a ton more work to do on this bike. And then we will finish up mounting this stuff up for good later on. So a little change of scenery here on some things we need to do, more maintenance type stuff before we start cleaning on this bike pretty good. So at a minimum, this cover's got to come off because it's got a leaky, you know, it's got a leaky gasket, which isn't a big deal. But since I managed to fry our voltage regulator, you know, with the fire, I was also never able to check to see if it's charging. So there's a possibility we might have fried the stator, and plus I don't know if it's charging. So out of caution, we're just going to go ahead and replace that while we got this cover off. May not really need to do it, but I'd really hate to tear into this thing again if I learn that it's not charging. Well, somebody went crazy with the RTV on this little derby cover. And I think I may see why. Not sure if that shows up on camera. It's really hard to see, but that cover is pretty dang warped. I'm actually surprised that this cover itself wasn't leaking. It's crazy. Add that to the list, I guess. Ooh, just a little messy, to be expected. Get down in that oil pan. Well, it looks like we got some James gasket remnants there, but a lot of RTV on that thing for some reason. The cover does not look warped, so I really understand why people go to town with the RTV. Also saw it for the derby cover. Of course, the derby cover was warped. But what's bothering me is this right here. Look at this nut, this compensator nut. It's a bit boogered up. Somebody used, I guess, the wrong size socket on. I've got a socket that'll actually fit on there perfect. I think it'll be fine, but if it starts to give me fits, I'm going to have to get the impact on it. I don't like to do that. I don't want to do the vibration with those magnets on that rotor, but I also don't want to mess up that nut anymore. Well, I just don't know really what to say right now. So we got our jam bar in here ready to go. We got our 1.5 inch socket on. Actually, I had to hammer that on a little bit with the rubber mallet because the head of that compensator nut was messed up. And check this out. That's right. She's loose. I mean, I didn't even have to get the ratchet on it. It was already hand tight like that. So I guess somebody got in here, did some work. I mean, I don't know what. Maybe they did replace the stator before, but I mean, they just forgot. I mean, that's kind of a, you know, that's kind of a big deal to forget the compensator nut. But anyway, let's keep tearing into it. Come on. Boy, this is the wrong freaking way to be doing this. Safe though. It worked. Ah, there we are. And remember, these are reverse threads on here. Come on, get off of there. Cut me some slack here. Get off the bike. Well, this nut's in great shape. Really good shape. Well, good. Something worked right. Well, I completely forgot that you need a puller to get this clutch basket off. I only need to get to the stator. And I went ahead and took the chain tensioner out all the way. Usually, you can get these front compensators off if you pull that tensioner out all the way, if you're careful. So let's see if we can do it. See if there's just enough. It's usually pretty tricky. Oh, there we are. See, just like that. So now we got that out of the way. We'll get our washer off of here, of course. We'll pull that rotor off and have access to the stator. And the good news is we don't have to mess with this because I was already able to adjust the clutch pretty good. Well, right before she got on fire. and it was fine. So we can leave this guy alone, and of course we'll make sure we get everything torqued down properly. And let's get this rotor off. I think they make pullers for this, but screwdrivers usually work. Make sure you don't stab yourself like I almost did. Like that. There. Uh-oh. Something's fallen. That's not a good sign. What do we have in there? We got some pieces of metal in there. Looks fine. I think just some stuff got in here. And from something. I can't figure out what it is. But, of course, naturally it all went to the rotor because of the magnets. Main shaft is okay, which is good. I can breathe now. Stator actually looks okay-ish, but you know, we're gonna pull that regardless. Get out of my way. Oh. Still in good shape. That's good. Come on, get out. There we are. It came out pretty good. Everything in there looks to be in pretty good shape. That's a good sign. There, got it. Finally. What a pain these things are. I'm going to go ahead and swap this regulator. I'm not going to mount it permanent just yet. But what I like to do is, since I've got that chain case open, is go ahead and get that new regulator on there and at least plug it in and get it nice and stout while I can get my other hand on the inside of the chain case. If you're not familiar with these engines, this plug right here is notorious for coming loose. That's why people run stuff like this on there to kind of help hold it in, and we will definitely reuse that. Then we'll put some RTV in there, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed that I didn't booger up anything to cause more leaks. Booger up meaning that plug that goes through there. They can be a pain. I think that's a really bad design flaw. I just don't, it's just not good. There's a better way Harley could have done that. But you know what? It's what it is, right? Here's the back of that one that burnt. Check that out. Man, that thing was, she was about to go up, man. That was pretty bad. Crazy, because this was probably, I wonder if there's a brand name on here. I don't know if this is factory or something else, but it's probably better quality than what's going on it from Amazon. All right. This one did come with a good connector, though. I like that. That's a good job. Okay. I got plenty of wire for this. I think they made this wire too long, but at least we got enough. First new part going on the bike. Who would have thought it'd be the dang voltage regulator? Well, I guess the stator was the first new part. Maybe. I can't even think right now. Maybe I'll just sell it like this. Brand new stator, brand new voltage regulator. This is a good way to mess up a finger if you're not careful. Just like that. And remember, these are reverse threads on this. Get this tensioner on here and wrap this thing up. I didn't even realize it earlier, but our shoe was installed backwards. So I'm glad I disconnected all this because it needed to anyway. Oh, are we there yet? Are we there yet? So we pretty much got this wrapped up. I'm actually going to hold off to throw this cover on with the gasket. The reason is I need to get to these rocker box gaskets and replace those. Didn't even bring that up earlier because they are leaking, unfortunately. I don't have the rear wheel on the bike to rotate the engine, so we need to be able to have access to this compensator to do that. Well, folks, we are going to wrap this video up here. I did want to get to those rocker boxes in this video, but you know what? Just kind of ran out of time. But when we get back, we're definitely going to start on those first. And after that, I'm not sure. Maybe we're going to start doing the detailed cleaning on the bike. But another thing I need to do if I feel crazy enough is we got to figure out how to mount our seat, because mounting it on the fender is easy. But up here, since we have nothing factory that's left, we got to figure out a way to mount it up here in the front. So fun things to figure out, but we will just have to wait and see. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know for me, this bike, so far, so good. It's coming along, but we have got a long way to go on this bike. It's got quite a few things wrong with it. And if you did notice, we do have another bike here lurking in the garage. That is for another project in the future. Probably going to start on that one while we're working on the ELECTRA to actually have two projects going at once. Just trying to change things up on you guys. So if y'all want to catch those future videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. As always, I thank you guys so much for watching. We'll chat with you next time.